Hi and welcome to this video. So for those that saw last video, the history of this car, if you haven't, I'll put a link up maybe and you can have a look at that. Really good video, enjoyed doing it. But I did mention at the end that I don't have a lot of history with this car. So although I did a service on it last year, which is due again, which I didn't do a video on, so that will be the next video after this one. I'm also going to do the coolant and thermostat. Now it doesn't look as bad as I watched a video on, I think it's Fiesta mk3. His coolant was very murky, brown, rusty. Mine's not as bad as that, and also his fan didn't work. Mine does, but I did notice, I say last year, which is the reason behind this video, is that the temperature doesn't stay halfway. It tends to stay around a quarter, so that is the definite sign of a faulty thermostat. So I say my coolant's not that bad, it is pinkier, but if I'm doing that I may as well just flush it out anyway, then I know it's been done. And like I say, all adds to the history and everything's on YouTube for you guys to see and part of the history. So if I take you around now, I'll just quickly show you. So I'm losing light pretty quick, but I say the coolant's not that bad, it is slightly pinky still. Undo that. Look in there, I say it is quite pink, so possibly that's been done recently, but this has probably not been touched in a while. So we'll take all these pipes off. I say I'm not changing that because I know the fan works, it does kick in, but I will give all this a clean up, as a slight leak around there maybe, and I have a new gasket for this as well. So with me for parts I have the antifreeze coolant, and pretty much that's all you need, and the gasket, which I've just realised is inside the house, so I do need to go and get that. So there we go, just like that. That is the gasket. This is a paper one. The car originally would have come with an OEM paper gasket like this one. When I looked online, there's a lot of rubber spongy type, which I don't know if they use in the Ford Ka, which is a later engine which a lot of these parts use, but I like to keep it OEM, so I've gone on my way to buy a paper one. And I nearly forgot as well, you need the actual thermostat itself, which I have in this box. Now I've noticed all the temperature's the same, so you must make sure it says 88 degrees on there. But I say on this one I've noticed that there is a rubber seal around the end of this one. Now as I say, I did watch Marcel Motors video, I did ask him as well, so if you're watching, thanks for your video because it's helped. His didn't have one, a seal, as far as I'm aware. But on further looking into it, these are quite universal for many cars. So this rubber seal around the end should come off, and then it should fit just nicely and snug with that paper gasket just around the edge. Just to note as well, if you're doing this at home, be aware where you're doing this because coolant is toxic to animals. So without further ado, now I've got the parts, let's make a start. Okay, so I've jacked the car up, which is down there, got axle stand as well. What I was going to do is put the bucket under the car and look for the, there you go, use the torch, that pipe there. But if you look at those nuts, they are well past it, so I will be ordering some new ones of those. First of all, especially that bottom one, you can see it, it is very crusty, and I don't know how I'm going to get that off. That top one, that one with the light on, it's not so bad, but that bottom one is, yeah. So it may take me some time to undo that one, so I think I'll bring you back. That may take a while. So as you can see, I hope you can see me with lighting, these manky clips are all now off, which is for the better. Now you're probably asking as you're watching this, as I know I'm certainly thinking it, why would you not just release the coolant via the drain plug on the radiator, as you can see from this clip here. Now the reason that I didn't do this, yes you could do that and it would release the coolant, it goes everywhere, but the reason why I've not done this is as I say, I've not done this before. I want to give the system a really good flush, so the best way to do that is to take the pipe off. Now obviously I only needed to take one pipe off, I don't need to undo all three, but as these clips are so, well, as you can see the state of them, they're rusted to high heaven, I may as well, as I'm doing this job, take all 3 off and renew them. Okay, so I've put axle stand under there, but don't normally use it on the sill, but it's not going to stay up long and I'm not going under the car. So now it's jacked up, find the bucket. It's under. Okay, so what we need to do now, because I've undone all 3 pipes, I can choose which one, but normally you pull that bottom pipe off and release the coolant. Okay, so all 3 pipes are off. I didn't manage to film it because coolant went absolutely everywhere. My feet are wet through, there's coolant everywhere, trying to mop it up, and also my back's wet through because, yeah, it's chucking it down, which is lovely. But the car's back on the floor, the coolant's now gone in the bucket, it's down there. It's mixed in with oil by the way, so don't worry too much, that's why it looks a bit funny. But yeah, now we can proceed to get this sensor off and undo 1 or 2 pipes. So let's see if we can do it with one hand. I'll say I'm not replacing this because unlike Marcelo Motors, when he did his, my fan does work. So I'm not going to replace bits, you know, if it doesn't need to. There we go. Let's see, connector off. A wire that goes under there somewhere. So you can see that. That just pops off. Now take this one off. I'm not going to take the other pipes off, but I'm just going to take this off so I can get to the thermostat. Okay, so with it now off, that, and you can see in there is the reason why I've gone to so much trouble in getting this off, because that's going around the system. So I need to try and clean that up, and next we'll get that off. Okay, so that's the both bolts off. So let's see what's under here. Oh, lovely. So that's the remains of the gasket, I think, that's in there. So that definitely needs a good clean out. There. And there is the old thermostat, which I think is definitely wedged in there. Okay, so that's fine now, that's I'm getting out. But, yeah, I think that's definitely past it. Okay, so I brought it out so I don't get water everywhere, but I'll put it in there, and put some in there, and hopefully give the system a good flush. Because as you can see, there's a few nice crusty bits in there. So everything's had a wash through there, and the radiator, which a lot of foaminess came out there, which is good, I suppose. So now all the seals off there and the thermostat housing, just cleaned it all up with a bit of screwdriver and a bit of sandpaper. Just got to be careful not to get all bits in there, 'cause you have to flush it back through again. But the bottle's clean, so the faces of these, the housing are clean, the radiator's being flushed. A quick dry around because it went everywhere. So now I'm going to push the car back into the garage because it looks like it's going to rain again, typical. And then on the next clip, hopefully, I need to get some more of these because mine are rusted. But yeah, I can start putting stuff back together. Okay, so it's been a few days since I last recorded some footage. I've been waiting on parts mainly, so I took the top hose off and saw that it was basically corroding, is that the right word for rubber? Corroded inside and going a bit thin. So I needed to order a new top hose. So at the same time, I've ordered some new Jubilee clips. I had to wait a few days rather than getting posted for a friend to come and drop them off. So thank you, Dave. And like I say, this is the new pipe. It's nice Gates top hose. Now I'd look at the others, took the middle one off, I'd look at the bottom. They seem okay, so it would be nice to replace them all, but I'm not going to just for cost. This one was pretty much due, as I say, because it was going thin. Now hopefully I can carry on and put a few more bits back together. And there is the two shiny new clips, so that pipe is now ready to go back on. Okay, so it's just hard to record and get an angle in there, but there we go. That's the water pump pipe on. It goes down to the bottom there. Focus in. And be careful as well that you don't tighten these too tight, because these are only plastic, so if you do then you run the risk of cracking these plastic. Don't know what they're called, housing. So you just need to be tight enough that it just nips it and it's not going to pull off. This middle pipe is now on there. See, it's all fastened on. Better shot. So that clip just stops the two pipes from touching and rubbing together. Keeps them nice and separated. Now it's worth noting as well, while I'm at this point, just further up, just to check that these clips are in place. That one there, that it stops basically the pipes rubbing on this edge here, because this is quite sharp and potentially can rub through the pipes. I checked mine are okay, but I've put that there to try and stop it. Yeah, don't want that going through. So yeah, that's just one thing to notice if you're doing this, or even just checking your engine bay. Just make sure they're in place. Okay, so this one is now in place. I've not tightened that up yet in case I need to twist it. But yeah, that's now ready for that to go on the thermostat. So next I need the gasket for that to go on there, and the housing. Okay, so there is the new gasket. I can just sit that on there, move that out of the way. Oh, nearly forgot, I need the thermostat. So there's the new one. It did have a rubber ring on, but say I've taken that off. So just move that out of the way. Now the orientation of where it came out was something like that, so it can go back in a similar way. And the gasket on top. I don't know if this gasket actually does much with it being paper, but it's what came with the car, so it's what I've got. So now that's on, that's all in place. That can go on top. Okay, so the thermostat is now on and torqued up. It's not going anywhere, nice and tight. Now I need a clip before I forget for that on the end, which I'll put somewhere. So I'm going to go that way. Go around there, and back on you go. New pipes might be a little bit awkward. Okay, so a couple of minutes later, that is now on. It's not twisted, looks okay, and this can then be tightened up. Okay, so the last little bits are this little sensor that goes on top. So don't forget this one that goes under here somewhere. See if I can reach it. Oh, fiddly thing. It's underneath. That just goes on there. That's clicked in. And then the sensor that goes on top. And that's nice and in. So next is this top pipe that just goes on here. What I'm going to do is take this off and flip it so it's easier access. So I appear to have forgotten my external mic, so I hope you can hear me okay. I'm not sure where it is at the moment, so just have to make do. So for now I just want to crack on a little bit further. This bit's going to cause a few comments. In the beginning of the video, as I've been posting it on the owner's site, if you've seen the posts and updates so far, some people have said that the pink coolant that I've got is the wrong coolant for this car. What's meant to go in is a greeny or bluey colour. Now that is right, but from what I understand is that modern coolant like this, they don't tend to use the, or from what I understand, they don't tend to use the dyes anymore, from what I've been told. As long as it meets the criteria of the protection that it needs, then it's fine. Also, as far as I'm aware, this car has been running pink coolant since 2013, if you've seen the other video, so I'm sure it's okay. I also think that the coolant's not been also changed since 2013. As you saw, it's quite murky that came out, but this stuff will be fine anyway. Now with the water as well, I've had a few conversations on that online, if you've seen. Now a lot of people just use tap water. When I did this for the SD150, I did use distilled water. For the main reason why I wanted to get people's opinion, that's why I posted it online. As I say, a lot of people do use tap water, but in this area where I'm at the moment, I do have hard water, so it's not the best for the car. So I want to do a proper job. I don't even have to do this in 6 months' time, or I know it's meant to last probably 3 to 5 years anyway, but I want to make a proper job. So what I've done is I've been and bought a few of these deionized waters. I know it's not distilled, but it's the same thing. So what I'm going to do now is I've got a bottle somewhere that should be on that shelf behind me, that's a litre bottle. So what I'm going to do is a 50-50 mix of a litre of this coolant and a litre of water and so on until it fills up. Now if I understand, the full system is a 6.9 or was it 7.1, I forget, capacity system, so I may be a little bit short, so I will have to get some more. But for now, I say I don't need to show you me doing it all because it's a bit boring, but the idea is, say it's 50-50, so a litre of water and a litre of coolant, and I'll do that until I see it get to the max line, and then I will bring you back. Okay, so try not to spill it everywhere. Okay, so you can see that it's way above the max line, but that's fine. What we need to do next is probably take this pipe here, give it a bit of a squeeze, keep squeezing it, and that one as well, and you can see the air being pushed down. And keep squeezing, and eventually you'll see the bubbles coming out and the line should drop. So once you squeeze the pipes a few times, get a bit of air out. My coolant has just actually landed on max, which is good, although I'm sure it will drop. So what I'm going to do now is start the car and just keep an eye on it. I'm sure it will drop, so it's a good idea to have some spare on hand, just so you can pop some back in. Okay, so I hope you can hear me. The car's been running for about 2 minutes, and I think you can see already that the coolant has dropped a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is keep it running, keep checking the temperature, make sure that doesn't skyrocket. It's still cold at the moment. So what I'm going to do is wait for the fan to get all the way to the top. Hopefully that'll kick in. I might give the pipes just an extra squeeze, just make sure we can get any air out of the system while it's warming up. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me. The fan's now just come on. I'll idle it lower. And that's just below, so just above the hour when that came on. So just let that cool down. It's all toasty. You can see it's coming down now, which is good, because that's what I want it to do. Okay, so I'll make this very quick because my eyes are actually really hurting from all the fumes in the garage. It's not a good idea to be in here, much better to get outside if you can do it, so as I say, I'll make this really quick. So yeah, as you see the fan came on, all good, just letting the car rest now. If you can get this on the road, obviously it's far easier and you're not going to choke yourself to death, but as I say, if you can't, if it's in the garage like this, that's the best way to get up to temperature, show the fan kicks in, and yeah, we're all good. Obviously when I do get this on the road, I'm going to make sure that the temperature needle stays half where it should be, not on the quarter where it was. I had the same issue with the Focus, so I know it's definitely this issue. So I'm looking forward to getting it back on the road because I've got the few things to make sure they're okay, like the bearing that I did, and all down there, which was a big mess. So yeah, just a quick tip as well. I have done, it's not the first time doing coolant, but For example, when I did my ST150, I left the cap off the expansion bottle, like what we've just done. When it gets warm, all the bubbles come to the top, and that's the air escaping, and that was it. Now, for some reason on these older Fords, don't ask me why, but if you do leave the bottle cap off, then this may happen. So yep, now I have coolant all over the floor. I need to get the car out so I can try and clean it all up. Now the reason I found out it does that by asking a few friends, don't ask me why it didn't do it on the ST150 and other cars that are done, but for some reason when the cap's off, the boiling point is lower than with the cap on, so it will boil and do that just before the fan kicks in, because obviously the temperature does get rather high on these cars for anyone that's got one, as you know, before the fan kicks in. Now it seems that leaving the cap on gives it a few extra, it being pressurized, a few degrees higher, so the fan kicks in and, as you saw, cools it down quite quick. So I hope that gives a little bit of a tip on insight for bleeding. Don't do what I did, because you'll end up with a mess. So before I waffle on, as I say, because my eyes are stinging now, I hope this video has been some use. I hope it's been entertaining. Thanks for everyone that's, I've been asking thousands of questions while I've been doing this, about different coolant. Yeah, it's a bit of a minefield, but what I've done is what I've done, that's how it's staying. So I know a few people have commented it should be green, blue, whatever, but apparently they don't bother with the dye anymore, as far as I'm aware, on some of them. So if you have any questions, drop them down below. It's always good to hear your views, reading comments, things like that. It lets me know how I'm doing, if you enjoy this type of thing, because it would have been a lot easier and less embarrassing if I didn't record it, but then you wouldn't have a video to watch. So it's all part of learning, and these old cars are the best things to learn on because they're quite simple. But yeah, I'm waffling on again, so I'll end it there and I'll see you in the next one.